not normally associated with Islam. One Muslim group, though, the Sufis, claim to try to replicate Muhammad's mystical experience of God through intense prayer, the chanting of God's name, and singing verses from the Quran.
When Prophet Muhammad was saying his prayers while he was mediating and communicating with God, he used to hear the divine instructions and then act. That's why in Sufism and in Islam, we also try to come close to God. Through our rituals, we try to be one with Him. Prophet Muhammad is an example of this. Whatever he did during his prayers or during his daily life is there for us to take example.
The Sufis have developed their own elaborate rituals and techniques, and here in Turkey they even dance. Although there is no evidence to suggest that Muhammad followed these rituals, the Sufis see him as an inspiration for their spiritual experience.
The Prophet as a perfect human, that's very much part of both theological and Sufi traditions in Islam. His perfection lies in the fact that it is only through him that one can know God.
At the center of the ceremony is the practice of zikr, or the repeated lyrical chanting of God's name, to bring people closer to God. The chanting is followed by a particularly Turkish Sufi practice to induce a trance-like condition through dance.
Every religion generates its own diversity of spiritual practices. Islam is no exception. We have a number of different spiritual traditions, of which Sufism is but one. Now, the Prophet prayed, he meditated, he contemplated, but he also said, pray, but tie your camel. That means praying itself is not good enough. You have to do good. You have to create a healthy, better society at the same time. Anybody who follows a spiritual tradition and does good, and the emphasis on doing good is very, very important, is in fact following on the way of Muhammad.
But Muhammad's spiritual experiences were firmly rooted in the practical necessities of life. He was not someone who retired from the world, but worked continually to reform Arabian society. Instead of simply waiting for paradise at the end of the world, Muhammad tried to create his own ideal society in his own lifetime. By